In a mass tragedy such as the crash of TWA Flight 800, rescuers involved will often personalize the experience. They cannot help but relate what they are seeing to their own lives, their families, their children.
So they deal a lot with not only the normal emotional pain and anger, but also the idea of this could be my child, or this could be my wife, or even this could be me. So their mortality kind of hits them in the face that this is death and this is the end.
I was sitting here next to another guy, and I said, you know, this is very tragic for these people. You know, they were alive a few hours ago, and now they're not. And I thought about my family, my wife and my 2 kids, and you know, I almost cried.
All of the victims that we picked out of the water, strangely enough, were women. We didn't find any men, and I thought a lot about each of the women that we picked up, that could be my wife.
Many of the rescuers involved go through feelings of helplessness and guilt following a tragedy such as this, one where there are no survivors. They wonder if they could have done more.
I really thought that maybe we could have done a little more, maybe not, for several days. You know, maybe we could have found a survivor. Maybe we could have got more of the victims. But I came to the realization we did all we could.
The feeling of saving a life is just incredible. I've done it, and it's a feeling of elation that I don't think there's anything that can match it. But the frustration of coming across something like this was just, it's equally as low.
At an age of 29, I was by far, me and one other guy were the oldest guys out there. And you see a lot of innocence lost, and I hated that. Gerald Pellinen, fireman, you know, 18 years old. I'm looking across at him, pulling in victims. You just see the innocence and the youth just washing away right then. You know, there's no way that you could remain unchanged after that kind of thing.
I was always hoping that there would have to be somebody. There had to be at least one person out of all these people on this plane that went down.
I think for a long time, Coast Guard and emergency services of all kinds, paramedics, firemen, policemen, were just expected to handle this and expected to get over it. That's part of your job. You're going to see these horrible things, but that's your job. Get over it. And people have recognized finally that that's not the right answer. That because we're in a uniform doesn't mean we're not human. And these people the people in my crew were very close to this tragedy. They were as close as anybody.
It's not uncommon in rescue and law enforcement agencies that the support that crews and families offer one another allows them to carry on and work through even the toughest situations. The crews that were involved in this case were no exception.
I always tell them what you need to do tonight is to go home and get with your wife or your husband, if it's a female, and just hug them, take your child and hold them for a few moments and just make reality that everything's okay right now. And that gives them some strength, I think, to be able to put their own lives into perspective.
The way that the crew pulled together, if there was something that somebody couldn't do, somebody else stepped in and did it for them. The conditions that these guys faced were beyond anything I have ever imagined. But yet everybody did their job, and everybody did a fantastic job at it.
The one thing that I'm going to get out of this, and the one thing that I'll never forget the tragedy, but the one thing that I'm going to choose to remember in the front is how well this crew responded. People worked from the time we got on scene until the next night, and just performed in just an exemplary fashion. And that is what I'm going to choose to remember about this whole thing, how the crew responded and how proud I was to be the CO of the ship.
Many of the people that we talked to told us that what kept them going through this long recovery process was the knowledge that they were doing what they were doing solely for the families of the victims.
You have to try and look towards a light somewhere. You have to try and find something good to look towards. And that was one of the things, and I still think about it. It's one of the things that helped me pull through. is that, yes, this, you know, maybe the family could rest at ease now. They could feel that much better that, yes, they do have the victim's body now, and they can put them to rest, and in turn put themselves to rest a little bit more.
This isn't for us. It's for the families. They're going to have some kind of closure when we do give these bodies to them. They'll have some kind of closure, and that was something I thought about. If it would happen to my family, I guess I would want some closure, and I'd want them back, something to bury and have the ordeal over with.